King David is one of the most famous figures in the Bible. He was known for being a warrior, a king, and a man after God's own heart. David started as a young shepherd boy who defeated the giant Goliath. He became the king of Israel and ruled for many years. Under his leadership, Israel became a strong and united nation. David also wrote many of the Psalms, songs of worship and praise to God. Despite his greatness, David's life was full of challenges, including personal struggles and family troubles. One of the most heartbreaking parts of David's story is the tragic fate of his sons. David had many children, but his sons experienced tragic endings, and their stories are filled with betrayal, violence, and sorrow. These sons were part of David's family and the royal line, but their lives were marked by conflict and failure. Some of David's sons tried to take his throne, while others faced terrible misfortune or ended in death at a young age. The stories of David's sons, Tamar, Amnon, Absalom, Adonijah, and Solomon, are a reminder that even great kings have personal struggles. These stories are not just about the politics and power struggles in Israel. They also teach us about the dangers of sin, pride, and family breakdown. The events surrounding these sons show that even though David was a great leader, his family was not immune to tragedy. Understanding the tragic endings of David's sons helps us to see the bigger picture of King David's reign. It shows that no matter how powerful someone may be, they still face the consequences of their actions. David's reign was filled with glory, but it was also full of deep personal pain. As we look at the stories of his sons, we can learn about the importance of wisdom, justice, and the impact of our choices on those closest to us. In the following sections, we will dive deeper into the individual stories of each son and explore how their fates unfolded. These stories give us important lessons about life, family, and the consequences of our actions. Tamar, the tragic story of injustice. Tamar was the daughter of King David and the sister of Absalom, two important figures in the Bible. She was known for her beauty and grace, but her life was marked by a terrible tragedy that would change her and her family forever. Tamar's story is one of injustice, suffering, and revenge, and it starts with her half-brother Amnon. Amnon, another son of King David, became obsessed with Tamar. Though they were siblings, Amnon fell in love with her in a twisted way, and his feelings quickly turned into an unhealthy obsession. Amnon was so desperate to be with Tamar that he tricked her into coming to his home. There, he took advantage of her, committing a horrible crime, rape. This act left Tamar devastated and heartbroken, as she had done nothing wrong. After the assault, Tamar's life was shattered. She was left feeling humiliated and alone. In her grief, Tamar tore her clothes and put ashes on her head, a sign of mourning and shame. She begged Amnon to take responsibility for his actions, but he rejected her and pushed her away. Tamar then went to her brother Absalom for comfort. He took her in, but there was little he could do to undo the pain she had suffered. King David, Tamar's father, heard about what happened, but his response was complicated. He was angry with Amnon, but he did not take the strong action that many expected. Instead, he allowed the situation to simmer without delivering real justice for Tamar. This lack of action deeply hurt Tamar and allowed the injustice to fester in the family. Absalom, Tamar's brother, was filled with rage after seeing the pain his sister endured. He quietly plotted his revenge against Amnon. 2 years later, Absalom invited Amnon to a feast. There, Absalom had his servants kill Amnon in an act of vengeance. The murder of Amnon was Absalom's way of avenging his sister and righting the wrong done to her. but it also marked the beginning of a bitter and broken relationship between Absalom and King David. Tamar's tragic story left a lasting impact on her family. While Absalom's actions showed his love for his sister, it also set off a chain of events that would lead to further bloodshed and sorrow. Tamar's suffering and the lack of justice she received had long-lasting effects on her and her family, leaving a deep scar in the heart of King David's kingdom. Amnon, the king's son and his downfall. Amnon was one of King David's sons and was in line to inherit the throne. As a prince, he had many privileges and a life of luxury. Being the son of a great king, Amnon had everything he could want, including wealth, power, and status. However, despite all his privileges, Amnon's life was marked by a tragic downfall, and it all started with his unhealthy obsession with his half-sister, Tamar. Amnon became deeply infatuated with Tamar, his beautiful half-sister, and his feelings soon turned into an uncontrollable lust. He became obsessed with her to the point where he couldn't think about anything else. This obsession consumed him, and he began to plan how he could be with her, even though he knew it was wrong. Amnon was willing to go to any lengths to make Tamar his, and this led to a terrible crime. Amnon tricked Tamar into coming to his home by pretending to be sick. When she arrived, he forced himself on her and raped her. After the assault, Amnon's feelings for her quickly turned to disgust. He rejected Tamar and cast her out, leaving her devastated. Tamar's life was destroyed in that moment, and she was left to live with the shame and pain of what had happened. Amnon's crime did not go unpunished. Tamar's brother Absalom was furious about what Amnon had done to his sister. He wanted to take revenge on Amnon and make him pay for the terrible harm he caused. Absalom waited for 2 years, quietly plotting his revenge. Finally, he invited Amnon to a feast. There, Absalom ordered his servants to kill Amnon as payback for the crime he committed. Amnon's actions set off a chain of tragic events. His crime against Tamar caused a deep divide in the royal family. Absalom's murder of Amnon sparked even more conflict and bloodshed. The damage Amnon caused was not just to Tamar, but to his entire family and the future of King David's kingdom. His downfall wasn't just the result of his crime against Tamar. It also led to a bitter rebellion, eventually tearing apart the family and the unity of Israel. Amnon's story is a warning about the dangers of unchecked desire and the destructive consequences of sin. Absalom, the revolt and tragic end. Absalom was one of King David's sons, and he was known for his striking appearance and charm. He was handsome and charismatic, which made him popular among the people of Israel. Because of his qualities, many thought that Absalom had the potential to be the next king of Israel. As the son of King David, Absalom had a strong claim to the throne, but his ambition led him down a dangerous path. Over time, Absalom grew frustrated with his father's rule. He believed that he could be a better king, and he began to plot against David. Absalom secretly gathered support from influential people in Israel. He made promises to the people, telling them that he would be a fair and just king if they made him ruler. Slowly, his support grew, and eventually, Absalom declared himself king in a rebellion against his own father. David, the true king, was forced to flee Jerusalem as Absalom's army grew stronger. Absalom's betrayal of his father was not just an act of rebellion, but a direct challenge to the authority of King David. The situation became tense, and a battle was about to begin for control of the throne. The battle between David's loyalists and Absalom's forces took place in a forest called Ephraim's Wood. Absalom's army, though large, was defeated by David's forces. During the battle, Absalom tried to escape on a mule, but his long hair got caught in the branches of a tree. He was left hanging, vulnerable and helpless. One of David's soldiers found Absalom and killed him, despite David's earlier command to deal gently with him. Absalom's life ended tragically in that forest, bringing an abrupt and violent end to his rebellion. When David heard the news of Absalom's death, he was overcome with grief. Despite the rebellion and betrayal, David still loved his son deeply. He mourned for Absalom with great sorrow, crying out, "O my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I had died instead of you." David's mourning showed the deep love he had for his son, even though Absalom had tried to take his throne. Absalom's tragic end left David with a broken heart, as a father's love for his son remained even after all the pain and betrayal. Adonijah, the ambitious son. Adonijah was one of King David's sons, and like many of David's children, he had hopes of becoming king one day. As David grew older and weaker, Adonijah decided to claim the throne for himself. He believed that he should be the next king, and he began gathering supporters to help him take the crown. Adonijah's ambition was clear. He made a public declaration that he was king, even though David had promised the throne to his son Solomon. Adonijah's plot caused a serious conflict, as it threatened Solomon's future as king. Solomon was David's chosen heir, but Adonijah tried to take the throne by force. He had many followers, but Solomon had his own supporters, including David's trusted advisors. As tensions grew, Solomon's supporters worked to ensure that David's promise to Solomon would be honored. Once David heard of Adonijah's actions, he ordered that Solomon be declared king. Solomon's rise to power was peaceful, but Adonijah's rebellion did not end quietly. To secure his position and prevent further trouble, Solomon took action against Adonijah. He ordered Adonijah's execution, ending his ambition to become king. Adonijah's death marked the end of his claim to the throne. His story is a reminder of the dangers of ambition and the consequences of trying to take power that does not belong to you. Although Adonijah had great hopes for his future, his rebellion led to his downfall. His story shows how a struggle for power can lead to tragedy and conflict, even within a family. Solomon, from wisdom to tragedy. Solomon, the son of King David, rose to become the third king of Israel after his father's death. His reign began with great promise, as he was known for his wisdom, wealth, and success in ruling. Solomon built a strong, prosperous kingdom and made Israel one of the most powerful nations of its time. He also built the famous temple in Jerusalem, a place of worship for God, which became a symbol of his rule and devotion. One of Solomon's greatest qualities was his wisdom. He asked God for wisdom to govern the people well, and God granted his request, making Solomon known for his wise judgments. People from all over the world came to seek his advice, and he became famous for his knowledge. Solomon's wealth also grew, and he built magnificent buildings, collected treasures, and formed alliances with neighboring nations. However, in his later years, Solomon's reign began to decline. Despite his wisdom, Solomon made mistakes that led to his downfall. He married many foreign wives, many of whom brought their idols and false gods with them. Solomon allowed these idols to be worshipped, which angered God and led to the kingdom's decline. His political decisions also created divisions, and the unity of Israel started to break apart. Solomon's tragic end came when he died, leaving behind a divided kingdom. After his death, Israel was split into two parts, Israel in the north and Judah in the south, causing years of conflict and weakness for the nation. Solomon's story is a reminder that even the wisest and most powerful leaders can fall from grace if they stray from the right path. Solomon's legacy is complicated. He is remembered for his wisdom and the glory of his early reign, but his later mistakes and the consequences they brought left a lasting impact on Israel. His story shows that wisdom and success must be carefully maintained to avoid tragedy. The stories of King David's sons, Tamar, Amnon, Absalom, Adonijah, and Solomon, are filled with tragedy, betrayal, and loss. Each son faced their own challenges and downfalls, often due to their choices and actions. Tamar's life was destroyed by the crime committed by her half-brother, Amnon, while Absalom's rebellion against his father led to his death in battle. Adonijah's ambition to claim the throne caused his execution, and Solomon, once known for his wisdom and power, fell into idolatry, leading to the decline of the kingdom after his death. The tragic fates of these sons serve as a powerful reminder of the consequences of sin, the dangers of pride, and the importance of making wise choices. Their stories reflect how personal choices, unchecked desires, and a lack of accountability can tear apart families and lead to destruction, even for those who seem destined for greatness. The turmoil in David's family shows that no one, not even a great king like David, is immune to the effects of sin and poor decisions. There are important lessons embedded in the lives of David's sons. First, the cycle of sin and its consequences shows that actions have long-lasting effects, not just on individuals, but on families and nations. Tamar's story teaches us about the importance of justice, while Absalom's rebellion warns of the dangers of pride and seeking power at any cost. Adonijah's death highlights the destructive nature of ambition when it is not aligned with God's plan. And Solomon's fall from grace reminds us of the need to stay faithful and humble, even when we are successful. The lives of David's sons challenge us to reflect on our own choices and the impact they have on those around us. These stories remind us that true wisdom comes from following God's ways, and that the path to peace and prosperity is through humility, justice, and faithfulness. Thank you for watching this video. If you found their stories insightful, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave a comment below and share your reflections on the lessons we can learn from their lives. If you're interested in more biblical history, we'll be diving into the lives of other tragic figures in upcoming videos. Stay tuned as we explore more stories from the Bible that offer powerful lessons for today. Don't forget to share this video with others who might enjoy it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.